And welcome back, y'all. Happy Monday. Glad you guys are here. Hope you had a great Monday and an awesome weekend. As I always say, welcome back. We are talking about this war, the war for your health. Today we dive deep into one of those topics that it seems like it's everywhere. Everywhere you turn, somebody's talking about nutrition. And we're talking about really one of the fundamental aspects of health, right? Diet and nutrition. And we often hear you are what you eat. But how true is that? And does it really make a difference? And that's what we're going to dive into tonight. If you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwayne Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology here on the channel. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, and create that life that you've always wanted. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we would love to engage with you, give you a hand clap, and give you some music. And let you know that we are glad that you are here. If you do have questions as we go throughout the discussion, as we go throughout the show tonight, make sure you put a Q in the comments with a colon and then write your question so that we'll know that that is a question. And I always see G. Albert that's out there. And for all of you who are out there, we ran a little late tonight, so glad that you are hanging in there with us as we get into this discussion. If you've not already done so, go ahead and make sure you hop over to our YouTube channel and look at all the stuff that we've got going there. That's our YouTube channel. As you see, that top there is just a bunch of the videos that we've done. We've done videos and we've done series on building a new version of ourselves. We've talked about the family as the foundation of all that we do. We talked about balance in our lives. We talked about positivity, how to create a positive mindset, and how to develop and build a better version of ourselves. All that stuff is out there on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you get out there and take advantage of it. If you have folks that are part of your community, people that are part of your support group, people that are part of your church or family members or friends who you think will benefit from some of the things that we do, go ahead and send that to them. And this would be a great show for them also as we talk about diet and nutrition. Yes. So let's hop into it, y'all. Let's hop into it. So diet and nutrition. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about tonight. You know, whenever we talk about diet and nutrition, an interesting conversation plays in my head. And it is that when we think about food, we don't really think about food just for nutrition, right? Food is involved in so many of the things that we do in our communities. When we are sad or when we are happy or when we have some special function, some special event that's going on, there's food that's involved. And as we think about food, I want, though, to kind of talk more about not the social aspects of food. You know, we've done a show on that before. But I want us to talk more about the science behind food and what food does for us, right? That's what food does for us. So the science behind the food that we eat. And when we think about it, you know, every cell, y'all, how many cells did I say? Every cell. So every part of the body, the cells, the organs, they all require nutrients to function. It's kind of like, you know, I give the example when I'm talking in my office. I give the example of a car. When you go to the gas station and you fill the car up, you know, you got that, is it 87 or 83, 87, 93 octane that you put, right? Those three different ones. And we're putting gas in the car because the gas is converted to energy, right? So it goes through the engine and those pistons fire And the combustion that comes as part of that is what gives the car the ability to move forward. And just like that, in our bodies, we have those nutrients, right? We have the fats, we have the carbs, we have the proteins, and all of those help to propel the body forward and give the body the things that it needs. And I'm going to mute here for just a second, guys. I'm going to just a sec. And so the body has all of these nutrients that need to come in, and those are the things that give energy. Particularly when I talk to people about sugar, right? So the body converts sugar to energy, and all the other things that we put in it, it's with the intention of converting it to energy so that the body can function. Does that make sense? So a balanced diet then provides the body with the essential vitamins, minerals, and energy that it needs to function optimally. So that's what a balanced diet does. So you could think about a car, and instead of putting gas in the car, you put sand in right? You fill the engine up with sand. What do you think would happen? Yeah, buddy, it doesn't run like it's supposed to, right? So that is why it's important, right? So every cell, once again, uses the energy that we get from food in order to function. And if it doesn't get the correct energy, then it does not function optimally. Make sense so far? All right. So as we talk about it, there are a couple of interesting things that I do want us to make sure that we mention. And that's how the food is divided and broken up. So there are what we call macronutrients. And then in a minute, we're going to talk about micronutrients. So macronutrients are those big things that we eat. The things that when we think about food, right? When we think about food, the macronutrients are the things that we think about. When we think about food, we think about, am I eating enough fats? Am I eating enough proteins? Am I eating enough carbohydrates? So those are the big things, the big nutrients that we take into the body and then get converted to the energy that we need. So when we talk about fats, right? And we'll see here in just a minute, those things the fats that we eat contain a certain amount of energy in them. The fats contain energy, the proteins contain energy, the carbohydrates contain energy. And we'll see here in a minute that they have different amounts depending on what macronutrient it is. So the micronutrients then are not those big things that we eat, but they are the smaller things that we eat. Okay? Right? So macronutrients, as you see there, fats, carbs, proteins. The micronutrients then are those things that we eat, and we don't have to eat these in as large a volume or amount as we see when we're eating the macronutrients. So these are smaller things. These are vitamins and minerals that are essential for the functioning of how the body works. For example, zinc, right? We need zinc to come in because zinc is involved in the process of getting energy out of the nutrients. And if we don't have enough zinc, we can have zinc deficiency, and then it causes other issues down the road. If we don't have enough iron, right? There's so many things, right? Hemoglobin, that heme part of hemoglobin is iron, right? When we talk about diabetes, right? Hemoglobin, right? Hemoglobin A1C, that's heme, that's iron. Vitamin C, very important for functioning of the body. Back in the olden days now, one of the things that they found out, right? So these sailors, right, when they use ships, they would travel. and they would develop all of these diseases. And they're like, what's going on? What's causing this? And they realized that that's because they didn't have vitamin C, right? So they were getting skin problems called scurvy, right? Skin issues. And so what did they do? The sailors started traveling with citrus fruits, and that did away with that issue. When we talk about calcium, right? So calcium, if we don't have enough calcium, we can have thinning bones. We can have, and I see hypocalcemia, for example, is another one of those. And I see patients who have hypocalcemia or hypercalcemia if they have too much. So there are all these minerals and vitamins that we need. And here, as we've been talking about COVID, what vitamin has everybody been talking about? Yeah, they've been talking about vitamin D, and how vitamin D helps with the immune system. So once again, these micronutrients, we don't take them in as much quantity as we do with the macronutrients, but they are also very, very important in all of the functionings of the body, right? So those are our nutrients. When we talk about calories, right? Calories are this is the word that we use for the energy that the body functions in, right? That's the currency of the body. So you'll hear people say, oh, I eat a 1,700 calorie diet, or an 1,800 calorie diet, or a 2,000 calorie diet. Right? I was going to say 2,100. Yeah. 1,800, yeah. Right? Yeah. Anyway, crazy. So the calorie is the currency that the body uses as we're talking about it. And I want you to there are two terms, they're similar, but we kind of use kind of a shorthand. When we talk about calories, they're actually kilocalories, but we shorten it, we use shorthand, and we just call it calories. Okay? So each of the macronutrients provides a certain amount of calories for the body, right? So fats have the most, so 9 kilocalories or calories per gram. So you eat a gram of fat and you're getting 9 kilocalories or 9 calories. You eat a piece of protein, 1 gram of protein, you get 4 kilocalories or calories. And you eat carbs and you get 4 calories. So gram for gram, fats provide the most bang for your buck, right? Because if you eat a piece of fat, then you're getting a large amount of calories, a large amount of energy, right? That is a conversation to be had, and we'll have that conversation probably at some point. But there is this fight, as you guys know, and I don't want to call it a fight. It's an interplay. You like that word? It's an interplay between those people who talk about fats and those people who talk about carbs, right? Which one is better? Which one should we eat? Which one should we cut back on? I'll mention some of that as we get further into the show, but so that you have an idea, that is one of the things, or one of the places where people talk about, hey, should we do this or should we not do that? Okay, right. Now, one of the other essential things, so we talked about the macros, we talked about the micros, but one of the other essentials that we need, right, that doesn't really fall into one of those categories is water. Water, y'all. Water everywhere, right? Water is so important for the body. And there are, let me pause, right? So there are so many things that water does in the body, and what we're going to talk about is just a representative amount of that. So it's not exhaustive, right? But you'll see that water is so essential in all the things that we do. So water helps to regulate body temperature. Water helps to regulate body temperature. So your body functions at a certain temperature. And it functions at that temperature so that all of the processes, the enzymes and the cells and all the reactions that are going on inside of us, that all of those reactions can work. If you remember chemistry, or even if you don't remember chemistry, you know that there are certain temperatures that you need for certain things, right? It's kind of like you get up in the morning and you go out. If you live in a cold climate and your car is outside, when you first try to start that car, it's not doing anything, right? Right. So you have to warm it up, which is an interesting concept. It's you, right? So if you're outside and you're cold, you don't work as well as when you come in and you warmed up, right? So the same thing in the body. If the body gets too hot, then certain things don't work. If it gets too cold, then certain things in the body, certain enzymes, those same macronutrients and same micronutrients that we just talked about, then they can't function well because the temperature is not where we need to be. Water helps to lubricate things. It lubricates joints. It lubricates organ systems. It helps to protect tissues, right? So as you're walking around and things are sloshing around, that sloshing, and you don't hear it, but the water is cushioning us, me, you, as we're walking around, so that we don't have the full force of the movement that we make, right? So water is helping that. It moistens our tissues. It carries the nutrients to the cells. So the blood that flows through your body, largely made up of water. In the blood, there is oxygen. There are nutrients. There are vitamins. Right? Those carbohydrates, those proteins, those fats that we talk about, they're in the process of flowing through the body so they can get to the cell where the cell needs it so they can do the function that needs, right? Water also helps the kidneys and the liver to detoxify the body by flushing the system. If you don't have it, then it doesn't work, right? Here's one. One of the places that I see it a lot is just today. I was actually consulted for a patient that had come into the hospital, and they came in DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis, which is an extreme form of high blood sugars for patients whose body can't use sugar. Then it starts, or can't use carbohydrates. Then it starts to break down fats, and when it breaks down fat, it produces this stuff called ketones, and that's ketoacidosis, right? It's actually the same idea that you see when we talk about people who are doing a ketogenic diet, but they don't go to ketoacidosis. They're trying to get into ketosis. But ketoacidosis is it's a more dangerous process that happens. Okay. Well, when those patients come in to the hospital, everybody wants to give them insulin, and insulin is appropriate. But you know what? If the person is dehydrated, then the insulin that we give them can't get to the place that it needs to be, where it needs to function, so that the sugar or glucose that needs to go into the cell is able to do so. So remember, insulin is the key that opens the cell up to allow the glucose, the sugar, to get in. So if insulin can't get there, then the sugar can't get into the cell. And so the blood sugars stay high. So one of the most important things that we teach our trainees, our residents, our fellows, medical students, is that one of the first things that you want to do when you're seeing a patient who is in DKA or HHS, which is another form of high blood sugar, you want to make sure that they're getting fluids. So if you're not hydrated, then those processes in the body that need to work can't work. The other thing is that water helps to dissolve minerals and nutrients and make them accessible, right? So all the stuff that we eat that goes into the system, part of what helps to break those down, water. So very essential. One of the most important ones. Let's talk about some enzymes. So when you eat a piece of protein, say you eat a piece of steak, or you eat some fat, that has to be digested, right? It goes into the stomach. It goes through the stomach, and there are some things that happen in there. I won't go into all the terms, right? And that moves into the intestine. And in the intestine, it gets broken down and gets dissolved and so forth. But some carbohydrates, as soon as you put it on your tongue, there are enzymes in the saliva that begin breaking down carbohydrates, and your body begins to absorb it. That takes what? Water. It takes lubrication. If we don't have enough water and lubrication, then things don't work the way they are supposed to work, right? So very, very important that we have all of those things. Well, what happens? So, and that's the positive, right? So we eat, we get nutrients, we get vitamins and minerals, all the macro, the micro, all those things in our body, and water's there, and it's all sloshing around, and everything works the way it's supposed to. Well, what happens if we, instead of putting gas in the car, we put sand? Now, notice there is a connection, and we've talked about here on this channel, and actually in this series, we talked about the process that goes on when the food that we eat is not appropriate, right? So this is the whole thing about eating a poor diet. So chronic illnesses like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart attacks and strokes, and even decreased life expectancy, right? So if we're having all these disease processes because of the food that we're eating, then our life expectancy goes down. And pause there, right? So we are now having more complications from chronic illnesses, that diseases of lifestyle, than we are from infection and environmental issues. Right? The food that we eat and the way we eat is essentially killing us. So it also has an impact on our mind. So the things that we eat can cloud the mind. So when we're eating, let me give you an example. Have you ever been going along and you say, hey, I'm hungry, and you go and you grab something that's high in carbohydrates, right? It's high carb. So you drink some juice, or you eat a piece of candy, or you eat a donut or something. You drink a milkshake, you eat some ice cream. Now, I'm not picking on those foods per se. I'm just using foods that are high in carbs. And you go and you eat that stuff, or you drink that stuff. How do you feel afterwards? Right? You feel sluggish. You feel a little down, right? And even when sometimes people will eat because they are sad or upset or something, and they get that boost, right? They get that, eat some chocolate, and boom, you get that rush. And what happens when the rush or the sugar, right, the carb starts to wear off, right? You get that downer, right? So it can affect our mental ability. It can affect our ability to think. This is our food that we're talking about. So excessive sugar is one thing. Salt is a big one, right? So we love our salt. We want to make sure it tastes. And as a matter of fact, I was cooking some stuff last night, and I actually think I put a little bit too much salt in the food. So I had to get some potatoes and put it in there. I was making some curry, y'all. That's right. A big curry. I love curry. So anyway, I was making some curry last night, and I put a little bit too much salt, and so I had to get some more potatoes, put it in there, and it kind of did its thing. Yeah. So there are dangers to not just having poor diet, but also dangers of having excess in areas. Right, and that'll come back to talk to us here in just a minute. All right, let's get over here and let's see. We got some folks I want to say hi to. Of course, G. Albert was here. He was asking, "Hey, is this?" And here is Grace. Grace says, hello, Dr. Woode. I'm happy to be here. Glad that you are here, Grace. Florence, good evening. Florence says, good evening, Dr. Woode. And G. Albert, always excited when you come through, man. He says, our quality of life may be affected. G. Albert, give me a little bit more there. Give me a little bit more. He said, or quality of life may be affected. I think you were responding to something I said, but just give me a little bit more there. And then sugar high. Yes, sugar high. Yeah, when you eat something that's high in carbs, then of course you get that sugar high, and then you get the crash, right? You get the crash. So very, very important to know that there are consequences to eating an unhealthy diet. And so once again, we're talking, right? And let's remember where we are in this discussion. We're talking about the war for your health. The war for your health. There is this process that's going on that, and as we live our lives, there's this process of chronic diseases. There's the food, the environment, which we talked about last week. So many different things that affect us. I was talking to, I think, was it my mom or one of my aunties I was talking to recently? And I was telling them that we have no problem, and when I say we human beings, we have no problem thinking of our car as a piece of machinery that will wear out, break down, need repairs. And we got the manual and it says, hey, replace this at this time. We're actually having some issues with one of our cars, right? So replace this at that time, get this tuned up. This is the schedule. This is the maintenance. And we go through and we do all those things for the car because we anticipate, we know that if we don't do that, the car is going to deteriorate. And at some point, we're going to have more problems with it. But we don't think the same thing about our bodies. Now, I'm going to tell you, and let's have a little conversation here, right? Let's have a little conversation. So your body, no matter how much you take care of it, it's deteriorating. I mean, I don't know if anybody has said that to you, but it is, right? It's deteriorating. And the more we live, the older we get, right? The more things begin happening. It's just like your vehicle, everybody. It's just like your car. And the better maintenance we do on the car, the longer the car lasts and the less things we have go wrong with it. So the same thing with the body, right? It's going to start deteriorating, but the more maintenance we have, the better we take care of it, the more likely it is that we're not going to run into the complications and some of those things that happen downstream. Now, and people say, oh, my Uncle George or my cousin so-and-so, he was a vegetarian and he exercised and he, lived in the gym and he never did this. He never smoked. And he still died of a heart attack. Well, you know what? There are cars that you take care of them and you do all the good stuff and they still break down. They still need an engine. They still need a transmitter. They still need an alternator. But that doesn't mean that, because we have that one car that didn't follow the rules when you took care of it, that I'm not ever driving cars again, right? So the likelihood is that if we do a good job, that we're more likely to avoid complications, right? That wasn't part of my original discussion, but I that's the thing that sometimes we don't realize. Okay, I was going to say something that would get me in trouble. I'm going to say it anyway, right? That means then, right? And shameless plug for me and for my profession. That means that you got to, at some point, you may have to see a doctor and do what the doctor says, which includes medication, y'all. right? Just like when you take your car to the shop and the guy says, hey, yo, you need, I don't know, you need a new alternator. You don't say to him, hey, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to rub this leaf over the alternator. And, oh, bad, Dr. Wood. And the alternator is going to get better. No. You said, okay, let's replace it. All right. Let's see. So G. Albert's responding. He says, yes, you were talking about how eating an unhealthy diet can affect you. I just echoed quality of life as a follow-up to your comment. Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. See, you guys got me off on a tangent. Right. So the hidden dangers, right? There are hidden dangers to excess sugar, excess salt, processed food, and so forth. Okay. All right. So then, what are some tips? Right? Because we're not just talking about, hey, let's, this is all the crazy stuff that's going on. Let's talk about some tips. And the first thing to understand is that there are benefits of incorporating a variety of things into our diet, right? Some practical things that we want to do. And you see there, so knowing the importance of nutrition is one thing, but can we make practical changes in our daily lives? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. And before we go through this list, let me say something else. There are a number of people, I think a lot of people, majority of people, let me say that will sit down and they'll get a new device. Like, and I'm one of them, y'all. Right. So I'll get a new device and I'll sit down and I'll kind of flip through the manual. I'll go mess around with it. I'll play with it. I'll press right. So I'll do all this thing to familiarize myself with how it works. Now I am bad on cars, by the way. I do have to say that though. but the other stuff, like my cameras that are out here, my stuff I have in this room, right? I am so protective of this. Right? I read the manual. I find out how this works, how that works, because I want to know, and how do I take care of it? The same, y'all, the same thing that you do for all those devices that you own, the phones that you own, the tablets that you own, the computers that you own, the car that you own. You go out and you build a house and you put all these devices in it, and you've got the manual, the little book that they give you with all the device manuals, and you sit down and you read through them. Please figure out, learn some stuff about your body. Learn some things about your body. How does it work? What does it need? We know what kind of gas our car requires. You say, oh, I don't put that in my car. I don't put that one up. I put the high one in my car. But we don't know this thing right here. Right? So we got to read the manual. Learn some stuff about what are proteins? What are carbs? What are, right? That's what we do. That's what I do, right? So that educate. I educate to inform, right? And when I say I'm Dr. Dwayne Woode, right? I educate, I empower, and I encourage. I educate to inform. I empower so that you have tools, and I encourage to motivate you. You see that? So that's the process. And the education part is just giving information so that you are aware, right? Because remember, we're creating this new version of ourselves. We're not living the old life. And as I'm talking to you, right, I see myself in the screen right there, guys. I'm telling you, I've got to turn the fingers to myself as well, right? So we are in the process of developing and building together and growing and going to that next level. Let's see. G. Albert says, all Alternator. Yes, all the machines want is more dollars after they put sand in your car gas. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey man, it's funny. We recently had one of our cars. We took it to the shop, and the guy said, and he was talking to my wife. He says, "Oh, the thing that you need is going to cost $4,000." I was like, "Wait." It's like, wait. Yeah, that's that sand that they put in. It says, "Do you really flip through the manual, Dr. Mrs. Wood? Tell us the truth." I do actually. Now, I'm not saying I read the manual, right? I'm not reading everything, but I'll look through to see some stuff in there. Yes, I do. And I'm going to have to do a camera so you can see up on top here. I've got all the boxes for all the stuff, and I've got a book right here with the manual. So now I can't say that for like what's the air fryer or the rice cooker or whatever is in over there in the kitchen. I can't say that for that stuff. Okay. All right. So one, we got to know, right? We got to know. That's the information, right? So reading labels, reading and understanding food labels, so important. And not just the labels, but just having an idea about food in general, right? So remember, you're putting this stuff in this machine, and this machine is one of those that requires high octane, y'all. So we're not putting, regular unleaded, although I put that in my car. We're not putting in regular unleaded. What would happen? What would happen if you put, I don't know, lemonade in your tank, in your car? What do you think would happen? Right? So you got to read the food labels, right? And begin understanding. And we did a show on because as soon as I said that, it went out of my head. Yeah, we did a show on carb counting and portions and all that stuff. So go back and look for that. It's on the YouTube channel, right? Number 2, portion control. Now, back in the old days, there's this word that they used to use. It was called temperance. Temperance. You know what temperance is today? It's called portion control. Yeah. Like, what is your portion size? When we go to the store, when we go to the restaurant, they give us not one portion. They give us a lot. So sometimes it's not that we're eating the wrong thing. Once again, we're eating too much of a particular thing. Yes? So we want to make sure that we're looking at and we're reading those labels. We want to make sure that we're reading or having the appropriate portions. Sometimes people say, "Hey, I am hungry when I get up, when I'm finished. I'm hungry." I had a lady this morning in the office, and we were talking about being hungry. And she was doing a great job. Her blood sugars were controlled. She was talking about about how she was managing, right? But later in the day, what began happening is that she got hungry. And a couple of things come to mind. Okay, this wasn't all in her case, but just as I think about her. So number one, we're so used to eating the portions that we eat now that we think that we're not satisfied. Right? And the reason for that is the stomach changes the size, right? So our satiety, the ability to sense that we are full. Hey, I've eaten some food and I'm full. Satiety has a lot to do with the stretch of the stomach. So if your stomach is yay big, right? It's normally, it's used to that. And you all of a sudden start putting stuff in that's about this big. There's not that stretch anymore. So that signal, right, doesn't work as well. But over time, the stomach changes and the signal all of a sudden is doing it again. It's like boom, right? It's kind of like in the old days, in order to eat a certain number of calories, you had to eat a lot of food for the stomach to stretch. Well, now I can run down the street and I can get a candy bar, and I can eat that, and I can get the same number of calories, but because the candy bar is so dense in terms of its calories, it goes into my stomach and it never stretches my stomach. So my brain never knows that I'm full. So that's one of the dangers of our current food, that it is so calorie dense that our bodies never are able to respond to it because we don't get that stretch in the stomach. And so the leptin, which is the hormone that says, hey, you're full, it's still not functioning. It doesn't get to where it needs to be. And then the other one, which is called ghrelin, is the one that says I'm hungry. So leptin is down, so I'm not feeling like I'm full, and ghrelin is going up. It says I'm hungry. So we're fighting both of those because of the type of food that we're eating. Right? So read the labels. We got to talk about portion control. All right? Mindful eating. What does that mean? Mindful eating. Sometimes we are in the process of eating and we're doing something else. We're on the computer, we're on our phone, we're doing something else. And so we're eating and our brain is somewhere else, and it's not connecting the two. All right? So that's one component of that. Just the other day, I had to, I was sitting down, actually in my office. I was in my office. And so certain days I have lunch with my wife, lunch with the team and so forth. But this day I was by myself. And I went into my office, got my lunch, sat down, and I pulled out my phone to put it on the phone stand because I was going to eat and watch something on my phone. And I said, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to put that away. I'm going to eat the food. I'm going to pay attention to what I'm doing as I'm eating. And then it just allows me also to just kind of woosah, y'all. Just relax. Just get away from everything. Just enjoy a meal. And that all goes back to, self-care and so forth. But in this instance, being present, right? Being present and being mindful of what we're eating right now. The other component of that is being aware. Being aware of what we're eating so that you're looking and say, okay, I'm eating. Because sometimes if you're on the phone, you may have put the food together, but you just slurp it down. You inhale it because you got to get to that movie that you're watching, right? Because you got to watch part of it so you can get back to work or whatever it is you're doing. Yes? And then the other thing is manage stress and hunger. Manage stress and hunger. I want to just highlight this one, y'all. Manage stress and hunger. Because if we're not careful, stress will make us eat more than we intended. Right? Stress will make us eat more than we intended. Because in the middle of stress, we tend to... Well, let me back up and say it this way. One of the questions that we ask people... Excuse me, I'm just typing. One of the questions that we ask people is, if you were not hungry, would you still eat? And the reason we ask people that question is that it gives us a little insight into the reason that they eat. And this particularly we talk about to people who are trying to lose weight, people who are having difficulty getting their blood sugars under control. I talk to them about this a lot because it doesn't make sense to institute something to control hunger and weight and so forth if the reason is something else. If they're stressed and that's causing it, then that what I'm doing is not going to work, right? So we want to make sure that we're talking to people. Hey, if you are not hungry, would you still eat? The other thing is, as you see there, right? We want to make sure that we are not hungry. I'm gonna pause for that one. Because if you're too hungry, if you are hungry, then that will negate the things that you're doing. Like if you're on a meal plan and when you get up from the table, you're still hungry. You're like, oh my God, I'm still hungry. Guess what? For the next 2-3 hours, you're going to be looking in the refrigerator, snacking, or you're going to white knuckle it. Like, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat. I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat. And eventually, if you do that, you're going to lose that battle. Right? Because you are going to lose the battle. Because the body is going to say, come on now. Yep. Okay. So here we are. So and you'll see there the HALT in the end, right? So those are things that will precipitate problems in your meal plan. If you are, and HALT stands for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. So don't be too hungry, because hungry, you're going to go back and you're going to eat, right? So HALT. Don't be HALT. Don't be too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Because those things will short circuit your meal plan. If you're too hungry, you're going to be eating, snacking all the time. If you're angry, that emotion, right? We soothe ourselves with food. And we soothe ourselves with other buffering things. Here we're talking about food, right? Diet and nutrition. But we do other buffering behaviors, right? We drink, we carouse, we sexualize, we pornography-wise, we workaholic, right? Alcoholic, all those things, right? When we're too hungry, when we're too angry, don't be too lonely. That's the L, right? Because when we're lonely, how do we fill that gap? And when we're tired, So there are times when I'm here, and I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I'm here, and I'm here late at night, and I need to cut that back. But I am not hungry. I've eaten. I'm full. In fact, I'm really, really full. And sometimes I'm here, and I'm doing a video. I'm doing a short. I'm doing something, and I'll get up, and I'll go get something to eat. Not because I'm hungry, but because I'm tired. And there are times when I'm sitting here and I'm going to show you some of those videos. Sometimes I'm videotaping, I'm doing something, and I fall asleep. And I wake up and I say, okay, I'm tired. Okay, let me go get something to eat to keep me up. Yeah, so we do that. All right, let's see. G. Albert says, for your information, I participated in a weight management education class with the VA. Today, we were reviewing labels. It's amazing that you are providing support for the dietitian. Oh, yeah. We love, and shout out to all dietitians out there. I love what you guys do. As a matter of fact, all of our diabetics who come into our office, they will tell you that when they're new, the new ones that are showing up in the office, we send them to education. Everybody who comes through is like, oh, I've been diabetic for 20 years. That's okay. All right. Because we want to make sure that you are equipped to be able to do the things that we want to do. Okay. So don't be too HALT, right? Don't be too hungry, angry, lonely. Don't be too tired. And then there are some benefits. There are some benefits to incorporating a variety of things in your diet. So fruits and vegetables. Now, let's have a little conversation here. When we talk about carbohydrates, right? And I'm coming down the diabetic road right now. When we talk about carbohydrates, I can eat a potato and I can eat a salad, and they both have the exact same calories, exact same carbohydrates. Let me say that. Okay. And the carbohydrates themselves are exactly the same. Let me say that. They're the same. You got 60 carbs here, you can have a 60 carb salad. You can make it. What makes the salad more healthy, or what makes people think the salad is more healthy, is because the salad has a lot of stuff that the potato doesn't have. There's a variety in the salad. There are nutrients. There are minerals in all the different things that make up the salad. There's fiber in the salad. There's fluid in the salad. Right? So when we're comparing a salad to a potato, that's what makes people say the salad is better. But carbohydrate wise, they can have exactly the same amount of carbohydrates. Does that make sense? Yeah. And maybe I need to do a show where we kind of just do that. I'll make a salad and potato and we'll talk about it. Can I eat it you guys want me to eat it on the air? I can do that. I'll eat half the potato and maybe the whole salad. All right. So carbohydrates. So incorporating a lot of fruits and vegetables into your diet. You want to do that because it gives you variety. It gives you the minerals. It gives you the nutrients. It gives you those micro nutrients that we talked about. A lot of that will come from fruits and vegetables. Protein. One of the best things that protein does is that proteins help to stabilize blood sugars. I started telling you about a patient that we talked about, or that I saw. And so one of the things that I recommended was increasing the amount of protein for breakfast. Because like by mid-morning, she was saying she was hungry. So increasing the protein will stabilize blood sugars and it will help with satiety. That is the feeling that, okay, I'm full. I don't have to go eat anything. So incorporating protein. One of the benefits of fats is that fats can help to buffer carbohydrates. Let me say it again. One of the benefits of fats is that they help to buffer carbohydrates. So that it's and this is not just for diabetics. If you're eating something that has carbs in it and you want to blunt the effect of the carb, that is, you don't want to have that roller coaster. When we talked about the spike that you get for the blood sugar and then that drop that you get, if you want to buffer that so that it's more even, eat some fat with the carbohydrate. Yeah. So if you're eating, I'm going to pick something silly, right? If you're eating some bread, put some spread on it. I was going to say butter. Yeah, butter on it. Right. So you're basically buffering. You can just eat a piece of cheese with the slice of bread. Put some avocado, right? You get an avocado spread on some crackers. See what I'm doing? I'm putting fat with carbohydrate, and you don't get that big spike. Okay. If you need to, then you may need to see a nutritionist, right? So there's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, I want to see a nutritionist." Say you're a doctor. I want to see a nutritionist so that it can help me with all this stuff that you're telling me. Make sense? Awesome. All right. So let's pause there for a second. This is a great place for us to do our thought of the day. Let's hop over and get that done. So our thought of the day is this: who is in your community? Who is in your community? It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. Whether you are trying to control blood sugars, whether you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to change careers, you are trying to become a better public speaker, you're trying to build a YouTube channel, write a book. A community around you improves your chances of success. The community around you improves your chance of success because it allows you the richness of the experience of the community. versus just you sitting in your house trying to do whatever it is. It allows you to bounce ideas off of the community so that they can, what they say, iron sharpens iron. Those people in the community, if we're all heading the same direction, then the community helps to build everyone up, because I can stand on the shoulders of someone else who has done something, right, that I'm trying to do. There are people who are ahead of me that I can learn from, and there are people behind me that I can teach. So there's the dynamic, there's the richness that comes from being in community. So the community is so important. If you want to lose weight, get in a community that's losing weight. If you want to get better blood sugars, get in a community that's controlling their blood sugars. If you want to be a better public speaker, get in a community that's working on speaking better or becoming better public speakers. If you want to increase your finances, if you want to invest, if you want to get into real estate, get into a community that's doing the thing that you want to do. So the question is, who is in your community? Because that is going to be a level of how successful you are. And that is our thought for today. All right. So your diet is the fuel that drives this complex machinery of your body. Just as a car runs best with premium fuel or the best fuel, your body thrives on quality nutrition. As we continue our journey into the war for your health, remember the dietary choices you make today will determine your health outcomes tomorrow. So until next time, stay balanced, stay nourished, and we want you to fight this battle, this war for your health. Right? So hang on a second. I want to give you a challenge. Going to give you a challenge. Okay? So what I want you to do is, and let me pop over here real quick so I can pull that up. I want you to begin incorporating some healthy lifestyle or healthy habits into your day. I want you to begin incorporating some healthy habits into your day. So your challenge for this week is to incorporate, right? It just went away. Incorporate at least 2 new fruits or vegetables into your diet. 2 new fruits or vegetables into your diet, right? And I want you to share it in the chat. I want you to find this show, and I want you to put hashtag, and I want you to put food fuel, right? FOODFUEL. Hashtag food fuel. I'm going to put it in the chat, right? So hashtag food fuel. There we go. Hashtag food fuel. Okay. And put it right. Hashtag food fuel. And then below that, I want you to put in the fruit and a vegetable that you are incorporating into your diet. Yes. All right. So once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us. I see 4 of you that are out there. I've loved the comments. G. Albert, always thank you for coming through. He says, not okra. Right. So thank you for coming through. If you've not done that, if you've not shared, and let me pause here for a second. And you heard me talk a little bit ago about what the plan is for what I do. I educate to inform. I empower to give tools, and I encourage to motivate. And why are we informing? Why are we making people more empowered? Why are we giving them tools? And why are we doing this motivation? Because we're creating a life, y'all. We're creating the life we want. We're not allowing things to happen to us anymore. There are some things that we may not want to face that we're going to have to face. Education helps. Having tools. Sometimes we don't face things because we don't have the right tools. Not because we don't want to. It's just I really don't know how to do that. And the encouragement is to help us move forward. That is to motivate us. Say, hey, come on, let's do it. And I want you to hang on. I want you to hook your hooks here, right? This community as we're building, this is going to be a place where you get to come and you get to do what I just talked about, that community where people are doing different things. And we're talking about everything, y'all. Right? Because we have to be healthy if we're going to have better mindset. We have to have better mindset if we're going to be optimistic. We have to be optimistic if we're going to start that business. You see how it all ties together? And here's the place where that begins. So I want you to begin sharing, right? Sharing this, sharing the video, commenting on the video. Even if you are seeing this, watching this and put replay, send it to somebody. Because as you do that, then more people get to know, more people get to see. And the YouTube folks, the people who are out there who are sharing, the algorithm gets to say, hey, people like what he's doing. All right? So I want you to be a disciple. I want you to be a missionary. I want you to be one of my hands and eyes and ears out there to help begin spreading and growing this channel and the things that I am doing here. Okay. Also, get over to the website, get over to not the website, but get over to our channel and see all of the videos that we've done that are out there. Also get over to the channel or to the website, and on the website, Dr. Dwayne Woode or Dwayne Woode MD. All right, Dwayne Woode MD, you will see there. Let's see that one. That's all. You can see our blog, our podcast, videos that we're doing. And if you are out there and you are stuck, if you are not sure what to do in the space you are, right? You want to start something. You want to do something. You want to be better. You want to control blood sugars. You want to control your weight. You want to start a business. You just want to have a positive mindset, and you're in a space and you don't know how to move forward. I would love to be a part of that. So get over to our website, and there you'll see you can sign up for a call with me so that we can talk about it. Okay. And then I want to make an appeal. As we get into the new year, right? As we get into the new year, right? We get into the last quarter of this year. In the new year, I would love to have a segment of the show or some shows, and we're still kind of coming up with the complete idea, where we have guests on, where we have you on, and we can actually do some conversations. We can do some coaching with some of the places that you find yourself, some of the conditions, some of the situations where you are, and we can do that here so that other people can see, right, and be able to join in, and that we can all begin growing together. So that's the plan. That's the plan as we get into the new year. I thank you for being here. Once again, this is Dr. Dwayne Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, and create the life you've always wanted. We'll see you next week again as we continue the series, The War for Your Health. Good night, and we'll see you at the next episode. Bye-bye.